have just sorted out a few programs from the past, so you can see what we've done, the variety of programs that we produce, and that we continue to produce. Not always can we produce the live shows which you enjoy, and you let us know you enjoy. But also we have a whole library full of programs that we've done in the past, which we've kept hold of because we think that they're worthwhile. So let's go to the first one. And he said, and what should we choose first? Let's this one seems to be. Hi, welcome to Mirador Television. This is local TV, but probably not local TV as you know it. We don't have much cash, so for one thing, we have to do much of our stuff outside. We don't even have a studio. So we don't even have a weather presenter. But we will try to bring you the weather. So when you see me with an umbrella, it's raining. So when I have my walking stick, it's fine. If my hat blows off, it's windy. And if I'm wearing a bikini, it's hot. Not that you're going to see me in a bikini very often. The body's gone, you see. Not a pretty sight. But when it comes to mixed weather, well, we really have a problem. It's silly of us to serve up the same old rubbish that you can see on regular television, so we're serving up rubbish of our own. But I hope that it's nutty enough to bring you back to watch us again. Stick with us, Nutty TV. Now, what's what? What is a weekly look about the interesting things that happen in our town? Those of us who live here know about them, but to a visitor, they might find them very interesting. This is ancient Keir Street. That in the early 1800s, the Prince Regent won a bet by driving a coach and four down it. The Mirador, though small, is one of the oldest in the country. A wooden Saxon fort stood on the mound until 1080. Then William de Varenne, the first Lord of Lewes, built this stone bailey as his stronghold. A tiny castle for a tiny town. Famous celebrations of November the 5th. They're huge. Almost every one of the townsfolk takes part. It goes way back before the gunpowder plot to Queen Mary's burning of religious martyrs in the centre of the town in 1556. Free beer? Of course not. But this pub, the Brewers Arms, is one of several independently owned pubs in the town. At one time in the 1800s, Lewes had 63 pubs and 17 breweries, and just a population of 9,000, but no free beer. Well, there are the Mirador cameras trying to keep a visual record of what goes on in the town. The famous Bluebell Railway, 11 miles of track carrying lovingly restored steam trains from Sheffield Park, just outside Lewes, to East Grinstead. The line opened in 1882. As the name suggests, the railway runs through wonderful bluebell woods, worth every puff. This is indeed a rare sight. Southern Rail was on strike so frequently, trains in motion were not often seen. This is the annual raft race down the River Ouse from Lewes to Newhaven. It's more than 40 years old. Raises funds for charity, and contestants build their own rafts and try to sink the opposition. Staying with water, this is a lovely spot in Lewes known as the Pells. It was given to the town in 1603. It's the oldest operating swimming water pool in Britain. Lewes has several charming and interesting cafes, despite the presence of dull, uninteresting chain cafes in the town. The Ports boast the best breakfast, and it's certainly very, very good. I can attest to that. Then there's the Runaway. Despite attempts by the rapacious railway barons to shut it, this bistro has been on Lewes Station for more than 30 years. Famous for its bacon sandwiches, Princess Di once stopped by for one. My favourite spot, especially at 6 o'clock on a summer morning, is the Priory. The building started in 1084, just 18 years after the Norman invasion. The Priory withstood the Battle of Lewes in 1264 and raids from the French during the 100 Years' War, but fell to the vandalism of Thomas Cromwell in 1535, as Henry VIII dissolved the monasteries. This is the Crown Court, and Assizes has been located in Lewes since early Norman times and has seen many famous trials. Finally, the stocks. Stocks have been used in Lewes for more than 9 centuries. Some say the punishment is still on the statute books. These are old stocks from around the country, but Lewis's stocks still sit in the grounds of the castle. Lots more interesting places in Lewis. If you live here, enjoy exploring. If you're a visitor, take a tour. We're rich in history. Oh, Jenny, what have you been up to?
Yeah, what's on then? Well, it may be a bit of fun, but what the heck? Anything else you want to know about what's going on in Lewis? There's a very good local publication, Viva Lewis, jam-packed full of information of places, events, and the happenings in this little town. Okay, time for my pal Jenry.
He'll never bring you down or leave you alone. Trust him all in all, 'cause he's the light. He'll lead your way through darkest of times. He'll never let you go. And he'll be there for you. And he'll be there for you. He'll never bring you down or leave you alone. Trust him all in all, 'cause he's the light. And he leads your way through darkest of times. He never lets you go. And he'll be there for you. Be there for you. He'll be there for you. Be there for you. And he'll be
Oh, I say.
a very good day to you.
Oh, my darling.
I'm Edward Sticker, Squire. If you stay around long enough with Mirador television, you'll see a lot of one another. This is Lewis Priory. Some people think it's just a pile of old stones. I suppose if you want to see it like that, you can. But between 1084 and 1537, it was a magnificent Cluniac priory. It had its share of troubles. King William didn't want it built at all.
Some of the monks and some of the buildings were roughed up when the Battle of Lewes spilled over into its grounds in 1264. The French attacked it during the 100 Years' War of the 14th and 15th centuries. King Henry VIII tried to pull it down in 1537. And the good citizens of Lewes looted the bricks and stones to build other grand houses and homes. But it's still here. These fascinating ruins tell a fascinating story. Their guardian is my friend Genry. Genry is a medieval knight who fought in the Battle of Lewes and now stands vigil over the buildings and grounds. We've become good pals, and he's agreed that over the next series of programs we should tell you about the Priory and the things that have happened here over the past 1,000 years. We also want to put it into context, so we'll mix in stories about Lewes under the Romans and its development with the Saxons. I hope we turn out to be good storytellers, because it's some story. And there's the added bonus of hearing the beautiful voice of our friend Yeva. Mixed in with some ghostly chanting monks and perhaps a little medieval music. I hope it's a program you'll pop in to see from time to time. Must go and see Genry now. We've a lot of planning to do. Okay, Yeva, sing us out. Doodle pip.
He never bring you down or leave you alone. Trust him all in all, 'cause he's the light. He'll lead your way through darkest of times. He'll never let you go. And he'll be there for you. And he'll be there for you.
Well, now, that's one of the early programs that we did to give a little bit of background on Mirador and Lewes and what we were up to. One of the important things about any television operation is that it has its good backup staff. And our charming backup staff this morning went and got me a bacon sarnie. Well, a bacon butty, really. Bacon and egg to make sure I didn't fade away. And brought me some coffee to go with it. the importance of backup stuff. How important it is. The backup stuff. All right. Now let's go to another whole program, and let's see what we have here.
Hello and good afternoon, good morning, good evening. Here we are with the second episode, which is all about wine tasting for all the people out there who are wine connoisseurs or just want to know a little bit more about the wines themselves. So we have with us Mr. Fergus Wood, who will introduce himself and tell you all about his company. Fergus,
how you
please
doing?
tell us more about yourself. I'm well, and once we get through all these wines, we'll be even better, probably. How are you?
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. It'll be a great way. We're recording this at lunchtime, so hopefully it should get us
Indeed.
into the afternoon quite nicely. Yes. And
Just the
Thursday-
right time for it.
Exactly. Thursday's the new Friday as well, so at least we're starting early. It's good.
Oh, I like that. That's
yeah.
great.
So yes, I'm Fergus Wood. I'm the founder of Camino del Vino, as you can tell in the background. I'm a new startup. We're about to launch a new startup, online wine startup, where you can find us at www.caminodelvino.co.uk.
I think it's very clever of you to have started this company because I myself, I don't know much about wine. I know there are 3 different colors.
Yeah. There's 3 main colours, but there's orange wines as well. But we'll go with that.
There we go.
Let's keep it simple to start with.
Shall we leave that for later?
Yeah.
Let's have red and white
Let's
later
white
on
and
for
rose,
now.
yeah.
Okay, great. So last time you were about to start talking about this beauty here,
Yeah. Go,
Wonderful.
Go with a pearl earring, yes.
which is a Merlot.
Correct.
Lovely. Here it is, and it's Chilean, is it?
It is Chilean, yes, correct, yeah.
Great.
So it went by a different name, the portrait, or the painting, sorry.
Yeah, yeah.
I can't remember what it is, or don't really know.
That's fine.
And
Yeah.
it's now just known as the girl with the pearl earring because it is so iconic and so distinct.
Indeed.
But this particular Merlot is also great for the region. It just thrives in the Central Valley, and the Central Valley it's sort of wedged in between the Andes on the east coast, and then it's got small sort of low-lying mountains on the west side. So it really tucks in below there. And Chilean climate is very Mediterranean. It's very warm and sunny. But then sort of that it gets that through the day. But then when the cool climate from the top of the Andes comes down, when it comes into the night, it starts to cool all the vineyards down. So it helps mellow out sort of the growing conditions basically. So it doesn't go ahead of itself really. It doesn't wear itself out through the growing season. So it sort of cools itself down. It doesn't need to start photosynthesizing, and it basically ends up with a lovely, elegant wine at the end of the day, and which we hopefully crack onto now.
I love the way you told that story. You should be a teacher. It's like a nice piece of geography and a little bit of history, and the story behind it. Well done. Can I open the bottle now?
Yeah, should we do it? Yeah. Crack on. Let's see why not. I left mine annoyingly in a storeroom outside, so it's a little bit cool, but I think yours should be at a good temperature.
Yes.
Because you don't want it. Red wines, particularly, you want them to be like 16 to 18 degrees, sort of like if you have them at room temperature, you should be fine. But mine's a little bit chilled at the moment, but you should just be fine. You should still get the same flavors, which is good. So.
Okay. Right. Let's open that up. Now, before anyone judges out there, this is what we decided on having the red in, right?
Mhm.
Because I'm not a very
Right.
big
Yeah, that's good.
wine connoisseur. I just grabbed whatever glass I had at home. I just wanted to make sure it's not a
it's a good
pint
one. It's a
glass.
good one. No. So it's very good. So if you hold it up to the camera, you can see it in a bulb shape.
Yeah.
Sort of like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's very good for wines in general because it helps collect all the aromas and flavors rather than let them go. So when you do swirl it around and when we go and sniff the wine, you can actually smell all the flavors that are in there. And so it just helps those sort of pinched in walls help the flavors and aromas bounce off and keep inside. So, and where you want to fill it is just below the sort of the widest part of the bulb.
Here?
You just want it, about there. Just fill it out, because
Just below the widest part. Yeah.
Yeah, you want to fill it at its widest part. You just want to fill it slightly below, especially for tasting, because I'd say that you don't want to. Later on after the recording, you can fill it right back up.
No.
Just for tasting, you want to let all the aromas just tuck in. Whereas if you filled it a little bit higher, they may just sort of go out.
Also, let me just ask about the top. Now, of course, many people believe that if it's not a corkscrew, then it's no good. If it's just a screw on. What's the truth behind this?
So, there is a slight bit of truth in that. Yeah, a lot of one of my friends as well. He's very, especially for like these sort of wines, South American wines that do have a corkscrew. He just doesn't. He doesn't believe that good red wines should not be in a corkscrew. It's just they should have a cork in it basically. Just because it's like, what the cork does essentially, it just imparts a different level of flavor onto the wine that maybe the winemaker wants to do. But it's just, again, it could be a cost factor, or it very much dependent on what the winemaker wants to do. But I guess it is sort of genuinely true that a lot of the cheaper wines do have screw caps, because it does cost a little bit more to put corks in, redesign the bottle and all that sort of stuff. But there are still very good examples of wines which have twisty caps, screw caps on the top. And so again, it's just like, it's one of those really. You can just take it as you will. Hopefully you'll like this one, and so, which is a good example of it being a good wine and needing a screw cap. But yeah, it's just it imparts a different flavor onto the wine basically.
Good. Well, thank you. You demystified that.
You're testing me today.
I told you I'm a novice, so whatever pops in my mind, I shall ask. I don't know if it's silly or not. But...
I like it.
Very good. So now to the important part.
The important part.
Is that okay?
Yeah, that's good. That's perfect. Yeah, that's great. So I got
lovely.
That. So yeah, what you
swirl.
You just want to give it a quick swirl. You should be able to, if you just gently put your nose over it, I can sort of, you can smell it already. You should be able to smell like fruit flavors already.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, so they're quite typically, especially for this Merlot, they're typically red fruit flavors, so such as strawberries.
I was going to ask, is there strawberry in there somewhere?
Exactly, yeah. So that's very typical of a good Merlot, and sort of representing what the grape can offer, basically. And so, give it a big swirl. And then if you want to dig deeper, put your nose in it, and you can try and pick up, especially if you do go a little bit deeper, some sort of floral notes as well that maybe the wine should have as well that could be present in this. If you can smell it. I can definitely.
Oh dear. No.
What are you going?
Floral. What type?
Yeah. If not, no worries. If your nose may not be particularly as attuned as mine, but it's something you may get to develop on later on.
All right.
Yeah. You may as well be able to pick up maybe slight bit of bell pepper sort of flavor, like green pepper.
Herbaceous.
Yeah, herbaceous. Yeah.
Interesting. You see, I would never have associated green bell pepper with wine.
There we go. Yeah.
It's healthy. It's full of fruit and vegetables. We need more of this.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
Yeah. And then
very good.
So we passed the first test. We've done the smelling. So these sort of flavors as well that you can pick up in the aromas essentially of the wine. You should be able to taste as well when we start to sip the wine as well. So there should be basically, whatever you pick up in your nose should be fairly representative of what you pick up on the mouth as well. But sometimes you may be able to find a couple more flavors that are, for instance, you could not smell on the nose that you could then pick on the tongue.
Right.
But that's just it's dependent on the wine basically, and it's very like, it's just whatever. It taste is very personal after all. So what you can taste and what you can't taste is entirely up to the person doing it, basically. So yeah, we should wait and see.
So turn out I am very rubbish at this, but let's give it a go.
What you want to try and do is when you sip it, you want to try and let the mouth sort of the wine sort of cover the inside of your mouth. So try and swish it around as if you're using mouthwash essentially. So you can get a real, especially for red wines, because they contain tannins. You get this sort of general feel and sort of slight covering, but it's a really pleasant covering of your mouth, and it's a slight drying texture to it as well, which is very representative of red wines. And that's what a lot of people do sort of like, is that sort of slight drying sensation, which helps sort of, it's just nice really. I don't really know how to explain.
You can tell a very good story. Right. Let's see. That's very nice.
Good.
Don't ask me about fruit. I already told you the most important.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we'll just get. That's what I'm saying. As soon as if you pick it up in the nose, just write it down whenever you're tasting. If you're doing a tasting thing, the same again. I've got the exact same one. But yeah, can you sort of feel on your tongue a slight dryness? Yeah, that's what tannins are basically. There's slight dryness, and this particular Merlot as well, given the region that it grows in and the climate, they're quite like medium. They're sort of they're not too in your face. That some wines we may explore later down in the line. They're not too like really boom. But they're not too sort of soft. It's a nice middle ground. It's a nice like midweek wine, I'd say. You just get on with it.
It's very easy to drink.
It's a good conversation wine though, isn't it?
Yes.
Talking about the label, and then you have a sip, and then you're like, they matched it beautifully, I think.
Very good. So would you say that different red wines contain more or less tannin, or is the amount of tannin the same? It's not, is it?
Well, in red wine making, for instance, the tannins particularly come from the skins, and maybe sometimes the stems especially in the classic vineyards that they use. They sometimes put the stems in with the fermentation process, but the skins contain most of the tannins, and this is what is distinguished between red wine making and white wine making, is that red wine fermentation process contains all the skins in it with the wines, with the grapes, so all the grapes, whereas in the other one they crush and then press the white wine, so that it's just the juices that are fermented.
So there's no skin?
So there's no skin at all, yeah. So that's why tannins, you will never feel tannins in white wine.
White wine.
Yeah, it's only applicable to red wine. Yeah.
I like this.
Yes.
Yes, I don't think I like the red wines that contain too much tannin, because when I taste that dryness a bit too much, I can never explain it. It seems, I don't know what's the word for it. What's the best word? Is it too dry then, or too something? But I can never explain. But whenever I taste, go ahead.
I mean, it's quite intense, isn't it? Especially when you do get a big bombshell in your face, in your mouth, of a big tannin grape. It's not for everybody's liking, definitely. But I think definitely this one is a lovely sort of evening. Pop it on
by the fire
party. Now they're in, maybe outside of lockdown periods with other people, friends and stuff like that. You can have a couple of bottles of these on a Friday or Saturday night and let everything go. Yeah. Even
for an everyday wine with some food, or in the evenings, I would definitely recommend. It's very, very nice.
Nice.
Right, just a little bit more, and then I'll put it away. Very nice. I feel like I want to eat it.
Good. Can you feel as well? I noticed on my last golf as well, like my tongue being sort of quite fresh in itself. There's like a minty flavour. That's quite indicative as well of the sort of region and Merlot. It's quite like a lovely little, just fresh minty eucalyptus sort of feel as well, which again would be the herbaceous sort of side coming into it.
The green peppers, right?
The green peppers, the same sort of category, yeah.
Right, so girl with the pearl earring, I agree. It's very, very good. Very tasty. Thank you very much. I hope one day you will return with another arty wine.
I do. I have another one. I have a Sauvignon Blanc, which we could do, also from Chile as well. So this would be a great opportunity to go, okay, we've done the reds, now we can move on to the white side of Chile. And especially Sauvignon Blanc, one of Chile's best white wine, great varieties that it produces as well. So.
Thank you very much, Fergus. This was very, very nice. I've thoroughly enjoyed this. I shall try it later again, just in case. See if I can recognize the bell peppers later on.
Exactly.
Right. Thank you very much. We shall be back next time. Thank you. Thank you to the viewers, and thank you to lovely Mr. Wood.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Well, well, the big difficulty of television is trying to keep those people who are really good at it in it. In the case of those two, Annie Verrill went to pursue a career in law, and Fergus Wood went and joined the Marines, although his company is still being looked after by his dad. Now, what we're going to do is to just remove that so I don't play it again. And this may be what I will do, but we're going to let's see what we've got going here.
Hello. Well, we're back in Hailsham, and it's a nice Sunday afternoon. Joey and I are back in the garden that we did a few months ago, the purple and white garden over in Hailsham, and you haven't seen it for a while. There's a lot of development that has happened in the last, must be about a month since I filmed here, if not maybe a bit longer. So in a moment I'll show you around, and you can spin the camera around. You can see what's happening with the plants. But the most important thing today is that we're going to do a bit of harvesting. So the vegetables that we planted a load of marrows and courgettes, tomatoes, cucumbers. Some of them can be harvested now. In fact, we have been harvesting them, but today I'm going to show you some active harvesting. And we're also going today to tie in and tidy up some of the vegetables, because the tomatoes I haven't been over for a while. So they end up with these little side shoots that you have to take out in order to encourage the growth correctly. So I'm going to show you what I've got here, which is a very important little gardener's tool, which is a little tiny knife. And this little knife we use for cutting vegetables off of their stems. So like a little what they call them, scythe, I suppose. But it's very useful, certainly for cutting marrows, because you don't want to damage the rest of the plant when you're getting them off. So we're going to come out into where our marrows have been growing, and I don't know if you can see, but down here we've got a little cluster of 3. Well, I'm going to be honest, I do, to be honest, think that these are courgettes, and we've left them a little bit longer than they should have been, so they have turned into marrows. Obviously marrows and courgettes are different plants. However, it would appear that, I'm just going to cut this off while I'm talking, but it would appear that if you leave a courgette too long, it kind of turns into a marrow. So these are really nice. Just peeled. If you peel them, take out the middle, slice them up and boil them, and then have them with mint sauce like you would do with lamb. And actually I'm having these tonight with some lamb chops. We've got lamb chops and the marrow will be lightly boiled until it goes translucent. And then the mint sauce goes over the marrow and it just gives it an amazing flavour. The combination is quite fantastic. The other thing you can do with the marrow, which my mum has done for many years, and I must admit I haven't had for a while, but I certainly grew up on this, is stuffed marrow. So you get mincemeat, you can flavour it whatever you want to, onions and all sorts of stuff. And you cut the ends off either end, take the middle out where all the seeds and all the rubbish is, stuff it, put the ends back on, wrap it in foil and bake it in the oven. And then you slice it and eat it a bit like a sort of a meat loaf, but you get the marrow around the edge, so and then have it with mashed potato. So that's another thing that you can do. So here we've got two different varieties here. So we've got this is a very light. These are light coloured, very light coloured. Well, I'm going to call them marrows, but I do believe that these are courgettes. You can see how that is more. This one's more of a courgette, and this one that we've grown out is more of a marrow. The thing is, they all taste the same though. That's the strange factor. So last weekend I took one of these home and we boiled it like you would a marrow, and it tastes exactly the same as the plants that you buy that are called marrows. So I don't really know. Maybe this is something for us all to Google and find out. Are marrows and courgettes really the same thing? But one's big and one's small. Now, also hidden in here are some dark green courgettes stroke marrows. We're not actually sure once again what they are, but I'm going to go down into the depths of here and you will see that there are somewhere in here, if I can film them, you've probably just seen them, some big dark green ones. So I'm just going to cut these off as well. Okay, so here we are, dark green one. So once again, another courgette marrow. So I'm just going to get these out of here. And then, oh, here we go. There's loads more coming as well. So we've cut off all of our marrows now. There's obviously too much for us to eat, so I should be giving these away. Our peas and mange too we've been eating quite a lot of, but as you can see, they are now coming to the end of their season. There's nothing really left on here. There's a few straggly ones, but nothing worth eating. So we go into our greenhouse and see what's been happening in here. Once again, this is quite exciting because this is the first crop of cucumbers. So, as you can see, got one up there. We've got one hidden in there. I think there's another one over here somewhere. Another one over there. So, oh, and one little naughty dog. Joey, come say hello. Yeah, who's this? Here's Joey boy. He loves to be wandering around. I think he's lost his ball in here somewhere. Anyway, so what we're going to do is we're now going to cut down the cucumber. So if I just pop you there, you might actually just be able to see me in action. There we go. So we're going to cut through there like that. First one. And then cut through there. Second one. And here. Yep. Thanks, Joe. Third one, which is actually proper, fully fledged cucumber. We've got a lot more growing. Pick up again now. We've got a lot more growing, so we've got some little baby ones. So another week or two, we'll have another crop of cucumbers. We've also got down here hidden in the corner 2 chilli plants, which are just starting to show signs of chilies coming. And of course, behind me, you'll see the triffids that are tomatoes. So I've got to tie these up and thin out some of the leaves, because if you take the leaves off of the bottoms, then you encourage more light to get to the tomatoes themselves, because obviously sometimes the tomatoes can sit underneath the leaves, and then of course they don't ripen off fast enough. So we'll do that. I also need to climb up on top of my greenhouse today because there's a Virginia creeper which is growing along the wall.
the microphone off. I, I was saying that we just need to get rid of that program, and that Alex and Joey Alex, unfortunately, has been quite ill, but we hope that he will come back to Mirador and start to do programs again. He's a very popular, very personable young man, and it is I think important that we have such people and able to give them the face and the voice and the ideas and the creativity that they deserve. Now, I don't know what this one is. Had no idea at all. So let's see.
Too old for television? Too old? Come on. Why is it that people feel that they're too old for television? At Mirador, we want people with humour. That can give a laugh and a giggle. Never mind what we see on television right now. We're told we're too old? No, 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 no. Come on, a laugh and a giggle. Experience. A little bit of seriousness. A little bit of a laugh. And that's what we do at Mirador. Right in the heart of Lewes, in East Sussex. Yes, we're looking for people from Lewes. We're looking for people that can get here from round about. But we can also figure out how to do it from your home. So you don't necessarily have to travel in. What we want is your experience, your humour, and the television camera can tell all those things. You know, so-called beauty, there, 3 beautiful ladies and a handsome man. That's what the camera will see. Never mind what people tell you, that's what the camera will see, and that's what makes television attractive, when older people get involved, because they have the combination of experience. They've tasted life. They can laugh and they can giggle, and they can pass on those laughs and giggles to the viewer. So Mirador Television in Lewes is looking for you. If you're being told you're too old for television, forget it. You're never too old for television. I want you to join me and the other staff. We've only got about 1 or 2 under 40 at the moment, not deliberately, but younger people don't seem interested anymore in bringing their talent and their humour and their personalities to television. It's us older people that have to do that. There's a team that did Lewes Live on the late night shopping. Yeah, okay, I forgot a bit. There. And we did we broadcast November the 5th in Lewes Live. But we do daily programs, and we need to see your face in front of the camera. So come on, come on.
Well, you know, it is funny. I suppose that what happens is that nowadays it's old hat to use video to put put yourself out because everybody does it. The fact is that what we do is we behave like a regular television station, which are becoming less and less popular. But basically, we draw together various talents and various thoughts and various ideas, and we don't We don't sort of broadcast to ourselves, as it were. We broadcast to other people. And that calls for experience. And if you tap in and if you watch, for instance, Dr. Mark Maybe, who is our education expert, he very much wants to give his experience in education to young people who will feel uncomfortable at university, and in fact who would not benefit from university. So it's a question of trying to attract some of you older people to give your experience and background a benefit to the younger generation. And there's no sense in us older people gurning about it if we're not prepared to do something about it. And we actually at Mirador have a fairly wide spectrum of people watching us, from old to young, and certainly it's all coming off reasonably well. One of the things that is often said about Lewis is that it dampens its neighbours, that everything is concentrated on Lewis. Well, here is one of our neighbours that we try hard to help, and where, in fact, a lot of the administration of Lewis has moved to. Yep, you guessed it. If we didn't say it, that's New Haven, and it's a nice little town, I think. Yes, it's a pretty rough and ready port, one way or another. Ports always are rough and ready in that way, but you know that tiny little square has got some lovely things there. I lived in New Haven for a couple of months about a year and a half ago, and it was great getting a breakfast at the little cafe there, run by two young men, and it was cheap and cheerful. But boy, cheerful is terrific when you haven't got much money. And there is a lovely little old-fashioned pub there, run by an elderly couple, and that in itself is the I've forgotten its name now, but it's in a back street, and it's well worthwhile going to. Well worthwhile, and on a Saturday morning, it's got its own version of a market. It's not a big one, but it's lovely. It really is. Now, I'm not sure what I played and what I haven't. So let's see, and I can always take it off if it's something that we've already done. That's just a mind. That's when you are loud. Remember this, if you do that, you don't have to do this. Let's look at this one.
Hello. Well, we're back in Hailsham, and it's a nice Sunday afternoon. Joey and I are back in the garden that we did a few months ago, the purple and white garden over in Hailsham, and you haven't seen it for a while. There's a lot of development that has happened in the last, must be about a month since I filmed here, if not maybe a bit longer. So in a moment I'll show you around, and you can
I really was to interrupt.
plants. But the most important thing today is that we're going to do a bit of harvesting. So the vegetables that we planted a load of marrows and courgettes, tomatoes, cucumbers. Some of them can be harvested now. In fact, we have been harvesting them, but today I'm going to show you some active harvesting. And we're also going today to tidy up some of the vegetables, because the tomatoes I haven't been over for a while. So they end up with these little side shoots that you have to take out in order to encourage the growth correctly. So I'm going to show you what I've got here, which is a very important little gardener's tool, which is a little tiny knife. This little knife we use for cutting vegetables off of their stems. So like a little what do they call them, scythe, I suppose. But it's very useful, certainly for cutting marrows, because you don't want to damage the rest of the plant when you're getting them off. So we're going to come out into where our marrows have been growing, and I don't know if you can see, but down here we've got a little cluster of 3. Well, I'm going to be honest, I do, to be honest, think that these are courgettes, and we've left them a little bit longer than they should have been, so they have turned into marrows. Obviously marrows and courgettes are different plants. However, it would appear that, I'm just going to cut this off while I'm talking, but it would appear that if you leave a courgette too long, it kind of turns into a marrow. So these are really nice. Just peeled. If you peel them, take out the middle, slice them up and boil them, and then have them with mint sauce like you would do with lamb. And actually I'm having these tonight with some lamb chops. We've got lamb chops, and the marrow will be lightly boiled until it goes translucent. And then the mint sauce goes over the marrow, and it just gives it an amazing flavour. The combination is quite fantastic. The other thing you can do with the marrow, which my mum has done for many years, and I must admit I haven't had for a while, but I certainly grew up on this, is stuffed marrow. So you get mincemeat, you can flavour it whatever you want to, onions and all sorts of stuff. And you cut the ends off either end, take the middle out where all the seeds and all the rubbish is, stuff it, put the ends back on, wrap it in foil and bake it in the oven. And then you slice it and eat it a bit like a sort of a meat loaf, but you get the marrow around the edge, so and then have it with mashed potato. So that's another thing that you can do. So here we've got 2 different varieties here. So we've got this is a very, very light, these are light coloured, very light coloured. Well, I'm going to call them marrows, but I do believe that these are courgettes. You can see how that is more, this one's more of a courgette, and this one that we've grown out even more of a marrow. The thing is, they all taste the same though. That's the strange factor. So last weekend I took one of these home and we boiled it like you would a marrow, and it tastes exactly the same as the plants that you buy that are called marrows. So I don't really know. Maybe this is something for us all to Google and find out. Are marrows and courgettes really the same thing? One's big and one's small. Now, also hidden in here are some dark green courgettes stroke marrows. We're not actually sure, once again, what they are. But I'm going to go down into the depths of here, and you will see that there are somewhere in here, if I can film them, you've probably just seen them, some big dark green ones. So I'm just going to cut these off as well. Okay, so here we are, dark green one. So once again, another courgette marrow. So I'm just going to get these out of here. And then, oh, here we go, there's loads more coming as well. So we've cut off all of our marrows now. there's obviously too much for us to eat, so I should be giving these away. Our peas and mange too we've been eating quite a lot of, but as you can see, they are now coming to the end of their season. There's nothing really left on here. There's a few straggly ones, but nothing worth eating. So we go into our greenhouse and see what's been happening in here. Once again, this is quite exciting because this is the first crop of cucumbers. So, as you can see, got one up there. We've got one hidden in there. I think there's another one over here somewhere. Another one over there. So, oh, and one little naughty dog. Joey, come say hello. Yeah, who's this? Here's Joey boy. He loves to be wandering around. I think he's lost his ball in here somewhere. Anyway, so what we're going to do is we're now going to cut down the cucumber. So if I just pop you there, you might actually just be able to see me in action. There we go. So we're going to cut through there like that. First one. And then cut through there. Second one. Right here. Yeah. Next show. That one, which is actually proper, fully fledged cucumber. We've got a lot more growing. Pick up again now. Got a lot more growing, so we've got some little baby ones. So another week or two, we'll have another crop of cucumbers. We've also got down here, hidden in the corner, 2 chilli plants, which are just starting to show signs of chilies coming. And of course, behind me, you'll see the triffids that are tomatoes. So I've got to tie these up and thin out some of the leaves, because if you take the leaves off of the bottoms, then you encourage more light to get to the tomatoes themselves, because obviously sometimes the tomatoes can sit underneath the leaves, and then of course they don't ripen off fast enough. So we'll do that. I also need to climb up on top of my greenhouse today because there's a Virginia creeper which is growing along the wall.
Well, here we are. It's me again. But I think we may have something here. Let's just try it.
There's been a few new additions to the town over the summer.
Whole raft of new eating and sleeping places cropped up in Lewes over the summer. Most of them were in Cliff, but Cote is at the top of the town on the high street. So far, I've only been in for a cup of coffee, but they've been very welcoming, and I suppose that it looks as if it'll do very well. Give it a try. Then there is Aqua at the bottom of the town, attached to the Premier Inn, also new. I've been in there as well, and they were equally as welcoming, and didn't mind that I just popped in for a cup of coffee and not a full meal. But Fuego is something else. I've only looked in through the front door. It's a new concept, of course, of cafe bar, Not new in the continent, I suppose, but not terribly frequent over here, and I haven't been in there because I'm a bit afraid I might go for the bar rather than the coffee. But one day I'll give it a chance. Anyway, some places new in Lewes over the summer and places for you to try.
I'm here in the village of Charleston, a charming, picturesque British village with a population of 500.
That's not Charleston, Keith. This is Charleston, South Carolina. A charming, picturesque village with a population of 120,000 in the United States.
What about this town, Boston? 120 miles north of London in England. Population, 35,000.
That's not Boston. This is the real Boston. Boston, Massachusetts, population 4 million.
What about this lovely little city, York? I suppose you Yankees have one of those too.
Yes, we do. Welcome to the new and improved York.
Now here's one you can't beat, London. That's London in England. Population, 8 million.
Okay, I'll give you that one.
Join us for a journey to different cities with the same name.
A new show comparing big American cities with the small British and European towns that share the same name.
We never should have let you win that little war, Melissa.
Actually, Keith, we beat you at 2 little wars.
What's in a name?
Coming soon to public television.
Little devil on my shoulder, telling me to hold on, telling me to go strong. The decisions that I'm going on, late nights, bright lights, wanna see the city tonight. Maybe I'll do it twice. I say fuck it tonight. That's right, little devil never seems to keep it on the level. Don't care if I'm going to hell, no. I'm gonna do the little devil's I'm gonna do the little devil's deeds. Okay, that pain, I can't stop, no way. Gonna check in, relay, check out as soon as I feel okay. Late nights, bright lights, wanna see the city tonight. Maybe I'll do it twice. Maybe I'll say fuck it tonight, yeah, that's right. Little devil never wants to keep it on level. Don't care if I'm going to hell, no. I'm gonna do the little devil's deeds. Oh, 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 oh. Oh, do the little devil's deeds. Oh, 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 oh. All right.
Well, the funny thing is that when you see it on television, they look at the camera and they look very funny.
This was what the prison looked like when the British Admiralty bought it to house the prisoners of war.
So they bought the prison and they made many adaptations to it. One of them, interestingly, they took the doors off the cells.
Good for freedom of movement, but not so good for privacy. The doors survive in the local museum, all that remains of the prison's interior. The prisoners were separated. The enlisted men, mostly Finns, Swedes and a few Ireland Islanders, were put into the prison, 3 to a cell. But it was a different situation for the Russian officers.
The officers, very different case. They were billeted out amongst the gentry families of the town and surrounding areas, not just Lewes. They had freedom of movement, they had freedom of association, and they generally joined in, if you like, middle to gentry class society. So we have an account, for example, of the officers being very popular dancing partners at local balls because they could waltz so much better than Englishmen. There we go.
Not all the Russians lost themselves in the pleasures of the waltz. Many, like Georg.
He sat on the bank while the river still chattered onto him, a babbling procession of the best stories in the world. That was the excitement that Mole experienced in the story Wind in the Willows. And indeed, rivers large and small everywhere all have many stories to tell. The River Ouse that flows through Lewes is no different. In fact, for much of the town's history, it has played an important part. Today, the river carries nothing but pleasure craft. But for a long time, it was a busy, bustling port. About a mile upstream from here is the village of Hamsey. It sits on a triangle of land which splits the river as it curves down towards the town. Hamsey is barely a village today. A few houses with the 13th century church standing in splendid isolation. But Hamsey was a Saxon port in the pre-Norman era. Historians estimate that over 1,000 people lived here, populating a port that saw ships sail up the Ouse to trade goods. There is no doubt that the Normans had a bit to do with its demise. The area was handed over to a Norman lord. But the community was attacked by an enemy it couldn't stop. An army of rats, which disembarked from one of the visiting ships, went ashore and infected the village with bubonic plague, the Black Death.
Gardens, very soothing, and Lewes has lots of them.
Actually, in our flight guide, we show 650 meters, but there's a 235 meter overrun, so we're up to nearly 850 or so meters. We only permit single-engine aircraft. We don't allow helicopters to come in, and we don't allow twins to come in, and that's largely from a noise point of view. We're very conscious that we don't want to annoy our neighbours in the local villages, the 3 villages that are sort of up at the western end of the airfield, as it were. There's nothing down at the eastern end, but Swanborough Village, Iford Village, and Rodnell, and Kingston to a certain extent. We want to keep that.
What are the restrictions? I mean, presumably you don't have night flying or any of that?
We don't have night flying. We don't have teaching. We don't have any flying for monetary gain on the water. The time we did it was 2 years ago. We've been asked several times by the villagers when are you going to have another open day? Unfortunately, we've picked a day which is not very clement in terms of the weather. But out of that, we like to think we strengthen the relationship with the villagers because ultimately we took children flying and doctors flying and village people, so quite a few of them have had flights with us from time to time. And we think that's important because we like to think that the airstrip and the Aero Club is an integral part of the community.
So you place your foot to assess the tension and convince yourself to continue knowing it's wrong. It's wrong. It's wrong. But when she's high, she's a skywalker. Doesn't matter. Just focus your mind on the wire ahead. It doesn't matter. It's a long way down. Long way down. What a spectacular performance. Though there will be no net for her. Such a spectacular performance. Who's going to blame her for this time? Oh, Skywalker, this time. Skywalker.
But when she's high, she's a skywalker. Skywalker. Just focus your mind on the wire ahead. It doesn't matter. Skywalker. Balancing high above the world tonight. Skywalker again.
Dandelion Charm out of New Haven, John and Claire Fowler, and they are brilliant and they are going places. They are very well known now across the south, and it's all homegrown stuff. They write all this stuff themselves, and then they perform it, and it is very acceptable, shall we say, performance, more than acceptable. Now, I'm not absolutely sure, but I've talked to you about the backup staff. Is Shannon, who brought me a nice little bacon and egg sarnie, and now it turns out that it's Kevin who brought it up from New Haven, from where his daughter works. So God bless him. But also, I can hear him busy in the background doing his usual Tuesday performance, and that is getting the beer ready for the day. So I'm anticipating that I'm going to have a glass of beer put in front of me any moment now.
About 5 minutes.
About 5 minutes, he says. So I'm sure as hell not going to leave you just yet, because having that glass of beer before the sun is over the yard arm, and right now it's 10:43. 10:43. We certainly still over. We will get our beer before anybody else, and that's the important thing. Yeah. Now, let's just, in the meantime, tell you about the weather, because it's today. The forecast has gone up. We are going to be 20 degrees, sunny intervals, and a moderate breeze. It's at 11 o'clock. We'll have cloud until about 3 o'clock this afternoon, and then at 4 o'clock the sun is going to break through and it's going to stay with us, and there'll be a relatively clear night until about 4 o'clock in the morning. And what's going to happen at 4 o'clock in the morning? Well, a bit of cloud coming in. I don't think it's going to rain, though. Let's see. No, it's not. It's going to be a clear night, a bit of cloud coming back at about 4 o'clock. No. It's a bit of, well, I'm not sure. A bit of cloud coming back about 4 o'clock. But other than that, a gorgeous night. Good morning. And now Lena is a lovely lady who thrills John Henty, is back, and she just brought me some biscuits. I have been well fed today. Believe me, I have been well fed. Anyway, today a high of 20, a low of 13. Tomorrow the forecast has improved. It was going to be quite chilly, but no, according to the forecast now, it's going to go back up to 20 with sunny intervals and just a moderate breeze. Thursday, we can expect some rain, but it's still going to stay at 19. And then we're going to get a decent weekend again. 19 on Thursday, 21 on Friday, although we can experience some rain on Thursday and Friday. A scattered cloud, nice bit of sunshine on Saturday, but it is going to be chilly on Saturday. And then Sunday, nice weather again, although once again chilly. And this the temperatures are going to plunge now, and they look as if they're going to stay low. So that's where we're at in terms of the weather for the next few days. It is now 10:46. We're not going to go before we get our glass of beer, that's for sure. Just let me tell you now that we just took a run through some of the things that we've done in the past on Mirador, and we have punched well above our weight. There are only a few of us, and we managed to put out 3 or 4 hours of television for 5 days a week, and it's all fresh stuff. It's not always going to be fresh stuff. We will revert from time to recordings of some programs, but the programs that we do are going to be really good. Let me just remind you of what we've got. On a Monday and a Friday, we've got the two barristers, Phil and Richard, who not only bring us really a great insight into the law and various key issues related to the law in British history and in today, for that matter. But also, they pound one another half to death, teasing one another and joshing, and it's a good program, and that's on Monday at 8:45 and Friday at 8:45. We've got on top of that, on a Monday, we've got Harry Ashton. Harry lives in Normandy in France, but he's a world traveler, and he shares with us his experiences not only of living in France, but of living and working in South America, in Canada, and other places. But he also has a remarkable knowledge of history to add to his narratives. So rather a good travel program, if you want to call it that. Going on a Monday, we end up with quite often with, and I say quite often because she's not always available, Suzanne Mouchot, our a famous architect lady from New York, who gives us an insight into the way Americans live. We think we know how Americans live, but we don't. I often quote, Churchill said of America and ourselves, two great nations separated by a common language. Chips doesn't mean chips, biscuit doesn't mean biscuit, and so on. And she gives us some idea of the way Americans actually live as opposed to the way we think they live. On Wednesday, we have, let me see, well, we have me to start off with. I'm not sure that's a huge benefit. But we then go, as the morning progresses, we go to Dr. Mark Maybe, who then lets us into how he and other academics are trying hard to move universities and their students away from academic. The experience. Here he is. Here's Kevin. I talk about my backup stuff. Look at that. First a bacon butty, and then a glass of beer. Oh, Kevin, you're a wonder. Right. Well, we've got to pause for that. You can sell that for the rest of the day. It's excellent.
That's good.
So we have first of all we have who did I say? Oh dear, the beer has taken my mind away. We have Dr. Mark Maybe, and he is extremely interesting, and is also trying hard to help young people make up their minds about how they should go after school, and whether they should go to a more practical university or whether they should go to the academia. Not everybody needs the practical. Some people do need academia, but there's got to be a happy balance. Coming out of university with a piece of paper that says that you can do something when you can't, it doesn't help. Then we have John Henty, plenty of Henty. John gives us history of Max Miller and also of people like Lucy Mabel Atwell. He's got a whole collection of memorabilia from some of the entertaining things from around Lewis, in which he's been part. And of course, he was one of the founding members of Radio Brighton, and is a very funny man, he is. And we have a nice little chat and a little josh, and we go through some of the things that people have forgotten about. Then on Thursday, we have, what do we have on Thursday? I perhaps need to be reminded of what we have on Thursday. Yes, on Thursday we tend to do what we do today. We tend to look back, and then going into Friday, the first thing of the day is Philip and Richard again, looking at some aspect of the law, some aspect of social activity, and another bout of teasing one another as we go along throughout the morning. And then we have, let's see, I'm missing somebody for the moment. and it'll all come back to me. But at 10:30, we have. On Thursday we have, of course, the Alternative View with Liza Page. She meticulously researches what's happening in the new world, as it were. What she and those who think alike with her, and I may say there are a lot of people in Canada who think this way, is she looks at the alternative view and whether in fact it's real, whether it's not, whether we've got a threat from our leaders, whether we're going to be taken over, whether people want to become dominant, and it's an interesting couple of hours. And then on Friday, we end off with Melissa Conti, who also comes from New York. And she does two things. First of all, she gives us some background into the political scene, the social scene, but also she likes to keep a view on impaired people. And she is taking her degree in impaired people, and is once again, like Mark Maybe, she's a very practical lady and is doing practical things in that area. And she actually then brings us up to date. Excuse me while I take another sip. Mm-hmm. We are adding to our list of programs. Over the next 3 or 4 weeks, you will notice a subtle change. It won't be dramatic, but things will begin to change somewhat. We are doing two things. First of all, we describe ourselves at the moment as hybrid. We not only designed to appeal to local people in Lewis, but also to people in other parts of the world, other parts of the country. And indeed we do. From the feedback that we get, we've got quite a following in other parts of the country, other parts of the world. And we are going to try to improve that and to see whether, in fact, we can bring our programs to you in a better way, well, not a better way, but an alternative way to social media, because not all of you tap into social media. And as we've said, we're looking for people to help us. And we are particularly keen to get people of experience, people who have been there, done that. If you are inclined towards that, please get in touch with us. We're at the White Hart every morning from 8:30 to about now, somewhere around coming up to 11 o'clock. And I would hope that you would feel free to either pop in or phone the reception and say, I want to talk to the television people. And we're very happy to hear from you. Whether you want to be on the air, whether you want to be in background or backroom person. But we in many ways, it's quite an exciting life, television, dramatic life. And if you want a little excitement in your older years, we're the place to come. You give us a call. We're hoping that in November, we probably will not cover on a live basis the bonfire night because it's silly for two television stations to do it, and the Rocket Radio it does a very good job, and we don't think that we should necessarily try to vie with them to take away their audiences. But what we are going to do is a very definitive look at Guy Fawkes. Most people don't know much about Guy Fawkes, but he spent a lot of his time in this part of the world, and actually was considered to be a very decent bloke. And who knows how eventually he did die. Not many people. Everybody assumed that he just went to the gallows. Well, he did, and he didn't. So anyway, it is in between watching the parade, tune in to us on November the 5th. Actually, November the 4th, because November the 5th is a Sunday, and we never celebrate bonfire on a Sunday. So those are some of the interesting things coming. One of the things which we're going to actually ask for your support is recently we lost to cancer a man called Stephen Catlin, who is a councillor, but is also former mayor of Lewes. And if there was ever a man who worked hard for Lewes and did things, it was Stephen. Now, as so often happens, everybody got excited and promised all sorts of things when he died. So we've stepped back and we watched. One of the things that was mooted, we mooted it first, and then people picked it up and said they were going to do it and haven't, is to get the secret garden, which he was very proud of, going again. It's become tattered, it's become weed strewn. Well, we've got to get that going again, and we plan to do that. And so we'll be very shortly telling you what our plans are, and if you want to be part of that. And as a matter of fact, if anybody is a gardener and wants to actually get involved, the only thing is we've got to get permission from the Lewes Council, and that is almost like drawing hen's teeth. Still, we will keep at it while the weeds grow. And we also hope that we can go to Dieppe, because Dieppe has got two things. First of all, it's got a very, very intriguing chateau. And we forget that really Normandy was part of us, or we were part of Normandy, whichever way around you want to look at it, at the time of the conquest, and in those medieval times. And its history is entwined with Lewes. So we will be there to do a history program on the chateau, but also it has a scallop fair, which is the biggest in Normandy, and apparently this scallop fair is just out of this world. So we intend to try and go over there and do a live broadcast for a couple of days from Normandy. There are lots of things to keep you intrigued, and I hope that you'll think and say, yeah, you spend half a day a week, 2 days a week. You can join me for 5 days a week if you want. Although most of you haven't got that sort of time, but you have got a little bit of time. And some of you may be thinking, how am I going to fill that time? How do I meet other people? Well, if you want to meet some weirdos, but some talented weirdos, join Mirador. It's not a bad thing to do. Where are we? Oh, it's 11:02. It's time for us to say goodbye. And I'm happy that you want to let's just play our break an egg, shall we?
Energy Matters with Stuart Dolby. Energy Matters, Mirador Television. From the White Hart Hotel in Lewes, Energy Matters.
Well, there you are. That's more or less it for this morning. And we'll be back tomorrow morning with, let's see, tomorrow is Wednesday, and we have Dr. Mark maybe at 10 o'clock. We have, let me see, let me look again at another Mark maybe. We have Henty. Oh, we have Henty at 10:30. Yes, not to be missed. Plenty of Henty. So join us tomorrow for more fun and games on Lewis is Mirador Television, and there's plenty of Henty, but plenty else to pay attention to and to get cracking with, and hopefully you'll find interesting and that you'll delve into, enjoy, get angry at. We do tend to be a bit like Marmite. You either love us or hate us. You never bloody forgive us. That's for sure. And this morning, we sort of run through some past programs, some past things that we had planned and could still implement. The picture may not have been that great. I'm sorry about that. But that's one of the things that we are desperately trying to fix. And in some ways, it's a bit of a worry when you don't know whether you're going to change your studio site, and we don't for a little while yet. And so there are some things that we find it difficult to fix, but we try, and we push ahead, and we hope that we can. We hope that we can start to bring you Mirador in more distribution outlets on the phone, on smart TVs, and other things of that sort. So let's join forces again tomorrow and forge forward, and hopefully things will be much better as each day progresses. Yes, it should. It is now 11 minutes past 11. The temperature is going to hit about 19 today, just a little bit down from yesterday. But there's nice sunshine outside. The courthouse in Lewis is bathed in sunshine. There's a gentleman standing outside in his shirt sleeves, so presumably it's warm outside. Let's go forth and conquer, as they say. And I hope you'll join us for our madness and nonsense. But those of you with a peculiar sense of humour, similar to ours, will join us. All right, you are. Let's say toodle pip, shall we? Yes, I think we will say toodle pip.